Hello, this is Shane Johnston, Director of Jefferson County Schools. Wanted just to provide a weekly update to our parents, students, employees, and stakeholders as we continue to experience the newness of school in 2020-2021. We have begun our second full week, and we are excited to report that there is much excitement going on in our classrooms, and the work continues to go on between our teachers and students and families. Everyone's getting acclimated as we follow these new safety protocols and health guidelines, and we're doing our best to work through all the different hiccups and bumps along the way, and we appreciate your patience and support. First, today I just wanted to mention that we are off to a great start. We appreciate our bus drivers, cafeteria workers, and again, each day is a new work in progress as we adjust to try to keep every student and faculty member safe. Secondly, I do want to talk about, as we go through the year, we've mentioned numerous times, our plan will always be to notify any student's family or employee if there is indeed a possible exposure to COVID-19 or a positive test. However, we are not planning to issue a county-wide call in those instances unless the facts associated with that case would warrant such a call, such as an entire grade level needed to be closed or a school building or something like that. However, we are committed to transparency and you knowing what's going on in our schools. We follow the health department's guidance and we work in collaboration with them each and every day, and central office staff members coordinate efforts with them to identify those students or employees that have possibly been exposed or tested positive to COVID-19, and then those folks are immediately quarantined following the health department guidelines. Now again, the health department is in charge of those guidelines, and they are responsible for actually officially quarantining people. However, we are proud to work in conjunction with them. So it could be that our school administrative teams or someone at central office is actually calling to notify, but every person that is quarantined or isolated has met the qualifications and the conditions as set forth by the Tennessee Department of Health. And we appreciate their ongoing work with our school system as well. So throughout the year, there will be individuals that are either exposed or test positive, and we know that. Of course, our first and foremost thought is for everyone to stay healthy, and our wish is that everyone would remain totally healthy. However, in the event someone is quarantined, that does not mean that they've even had symptoms. It could be that they're asymptomatic or they are quarantined only because of being identified as a close contact. Again, we know you've heard this lots of time. A close contact is someone that is within 6 feet for 10 or more consecutive minutes. There was some discussion last week around the state and through medical officials on 10 minutes being either consecutive or cumulative, but guidance was provided late last week to confirm it is 6 feet away for 10 consecutive minutes. So we will always work and err on the side of safety to make sure that we can keep everyone as safe as possible during this time. Thirdly, I do want to just, as that springboard into that, remind everyone that social distancing is our #1 ally to keep folks from being identified as a close contact. And while we know we have some limitations based on square footage of classrooms and the buses that just have more students on them that we cannot guarantee social distancing, we know we have some obstacles. But again, as much as possible, we're going to do our part to try to keep everyone socially distanced. But our adults and our employees are working hard to do that as well. And again, please encourage your children to follow those safety guidelines. Again, in elementary grades up through 5th grade, masks are strongly encouraged but not required at this time. In grades 6 through 12, masks are the expectation for our students. All employees of Jefferson County Schools are expected to have a mask on unless socially distanced can be maintained. And certainly we want those masks on in crowded areas, common areas, class changes, and those type things as well. Each building has their own variations of safety plans based on the layout of the buildings and different things. So we are continuing to work together and identify new obstacles and areas that we can improve on each and every day that we have school. Lastly, today I just wanted to make 2 more announcements. One deals with the school calendar. We do know that we have already asked parents to be making plans. Have your plan in place in the event that your child is designated a temporary distance learner because of being identified a close contact. It is also, I think, a good advice that if you would go ahead and have a plan in place should we get to the point that we have to close a grade level or a school building or even the district for multiple days, have those plans in place. How will my child be cared for and taken care of and supervised during those days? Now, with that said, we are reviewing some safety scenarios that may indeed allow us the possibility of building in some distance learning days for everyone. Now, we are going to review that and get more information to you just as quickly as decisions are made. But this would be announced ahead of time where you as parents and families and guardians would have the opportunity to plan put a plan in place for your child or your children, and we would have preset distance learning days. Again, we're not at that point of making that decision yet, but should we make that decision, we want you to be aware of that. We will give you as much notice as possible. This would serve 2 or 3 purposes should we decide to pursue this. One, it would provide, we're going to stack that up with other days like the weekend or other breaks in the calendar to separate our students on other days, to where a 2-day break may become a 3-day break or possibly a 4-day break from coming in person. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we understand the importance of being in person when at all possible and safely as possible. So the second reason, not only would it give our students extra days apart, but also it would give our teachers dedicated time to come to the buildings and be focused on the distance learners and lesson preparations, as they've worked so hard. And we're so very proud of our teachers, staff, and administrative teams and all of our employees. But those teachers would be able to be in the building, upload additional videos and educational and instructional supports for our students that are distance learning, both those that are distance learning on a regular basis and those that are temporary distance learning for those scheduled days. So number 3 in that would also just be an opportunity for us to be practicing in the event that when we get into a traditional flu season and cold season later on in the fall and winter, if we have some built-in strategic practice days of distance learning, we would be better prepared to handle that should we have to close a building or multiple buildings for an extended period of time. So lastly, we want to know that we will be releasing some sports information concerning TSSAA events later this week. We will get that to our media outlets, and we appreciate everyone that works together in that. Again, the high school sports, certainly at the high school level there, are guided by TSSAA. They have very strict expectations if we're going to host events and be part of participating in fall sporting events, and we will get that information out later this week in preparation for the beginning of certainly our first football game is this Friday, and it is on the road. The first 3 football games are on the road. We also have soccer and golf and volleyball that are participating in fall sports, and all of those sports have different expectations from the state, and be looking for that announcement concerning TSSAA and expectations and how we will be complying in order to offer those events, certainly on campus when we have home events. So in the meantime, please continue to use reopening at jcboe.net if you have any questions, and we appreciate your continued patience and support. It is our desire to continue to provide a high-quality educational experience to all students of Jefferson County Schools. Thank you, and have a great day.